Hello, everybody. Welcome to the JohnnyCast, episode number 19. We're in a nice little rhythm now, okay? Long-form content. We're talking about a free-flowing conversation. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, like the video, comment if you'd like as well. That would help the algorithm. Spotify and Apple Podcasts, I appreciate you guys listening. If you're watching, though, and not listening, you see I shaved my mustache off. It's a shame, okay? I parted ways with it. It probably is for the best. I think it looks better the way it is right now on my face, but I don't know. I had an emotional attachment to that mustache, and it's gonna be a couple more days before I get over it. And it might make an appearance again. It might come back, but for right now, it's gonna be kept at bay. Now, also, I got this new pop filter on my microphone, which I'm pretty excited about because people who know me, I don't know if you can tell on the podcast, but like I'm a loud guy. I also like have a loud voice, so I don't even know. I guess the regular pop filter which I have here, it wasn't getting the job done. I would say like things like Peter Pan, Pepper, Piper, like, and it would pop. And maybe it's gonna still be doing that, but hopefully this will fix it. I don't think it looks as aesthetic, but what can you do? The other one's like the Joe Rogan podcast microphone, but whatever. But let's start this podcast off with a question that intrigues me, or not a question, I should say. Well, it's not a question, but some like advice that I need to take myself, but also just a fun observation, which is you got to do what you want to do. And you can't let anyone else get in your way of your decisions, especially on things like a preference of sorts or things you like, okay? You got to realize what you like. And I have a very, very like close to home story about this. And it was the decision I made opened my eyes to this. And now I will never not make the decision that I want to make and do the thing or pick the thing that I like better. And yeah, sure, I'll ask people's opinions, but the story is, right before COVID, I got a new truck, okay? Now, I've driven a black Jeep Grand Cherokee since like my, I don't even know, freshman year of college. I started off with a red Chevrolet Cavalier with roll-up windows in high school. 2009 was my freshman year of high school, so I guess I started driving in like 2011. So 2011, you would have saw in Massapequa, New York, a red Chevrolet Cavalier with the windows rolled down. I had a burnt CD with all my favorite songs because there was no aux in there at the time. And there wasn't even a tape player where there used to be like a little thing where you could put a tape converter in and it would have an aux cord. Not even that. So I had to burn CDs to listen to my music. And I had like pretty much most tracks off of like Live Love ASAP. As time went by, like later on, like Voluminati, or not Voluminati, I always say that. Born Sinner by J. Cole, Old Drake, a lot of like SoCal rock. I'm probably forgetting a lot of stuff. A lot of Black Hippie, so a ton of Schoolboy Q and Kendrick Lamar, Absol, all of them, J-Rock. So yeah, basically, I went from that Chevrolet Cavalier to a Black Grand Cherokee, which I loved. I don't know what it was. It was called the I forgot, the Altitude Edition, and it was basically like a pretty cheap model for the Grand Cherokee, but it had like suede black seats inside, blacked out rims, a blacked out grill, and the taillights, the border around the taillights, the regular Jeep Grand Cherokee had like chrome around it, or like kind of like, I don't know, like shiny silver. And this one had black, so it was all blacked out, and it looked badass at night, and I love it. And I loved it, I should say. And I loved black cars, still do. And so I had that car. Then I got a job after college, and the lease was up on that. And I wasn't going to get a car because I thought I'd be living in the city, but then I got a job in Queens and lived at home for the first year. So I was like, yeah, damn, I need a car. So I wound up getting a Jeep Grand Cherokee, a black Jeep Grand Cherokee, but it wasn't an Altitude Edition. It was just called like a Limited. And that was a mistake because that was just like a mom car, basically. It sucked. And it was just like regular Jeep Grand Cherokee, black. And the black wasn't like fully black. It was like almost like a blue black. So hated that truck. And I told myself I would never get a Grand Cherokee again. And then because of all this driving, every day I would drive from my house, and I worked at night kind of. So I would wake up, drive from my house to the gym, which wasn't close, back to my house, then to Queens, which is not close at all, and then back home every day. So I don't exactly remember the amount of miles that the lease gives you, but I was over it by like 30,000 miles. It was nuts. So in order to, when you trade that in, you got to pay like a quarter per mile or something like that. So I was going to owe like 10 grand. It sucked. So the only way I can kind of get out of that is they were basically like, hey, like if you lease another Grand Cherokee, we'll eat that cost for the overage in miles. So I was like, fuck, I'm stuck. But I had some more money in my pocket, so I was able to get a better Grand Cherokee, which was I still have it now. It's the Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited X, which is all blacked out, newer rims, has like hood scoops, longer skirts on the side, like a back little like bumper that's nice, huge panoramic sunroof, all leather. It's nice. It's a nice truck. And also, again, I got this before COVID, so if I were to get this right now, it would be like way too much money. It's insane. But I got lucky. I got this truck prior to COVID, so it wasn't that bad. My lease payment isn't bad. So, yeah, I got that truck, and I was contemplating between the black and the white. And I've always had black trucks, obviously, as I mentioned. And I like the idea of a black truck, and I thought it was like more like cool and like masculine. And the white, I felt like a lot of girls have white Jeeps, and maybe I thought it might have been a little too like flashy and like in your face because it's white with black accents. But the thing is the body type is the exact same as the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT. So if you want to get like an idea, you can look that up. So all of the accents are in black, including the hood scoop vents. But when you have a black truck, when the paint is black, you can't even see the hood scoops, all the detailing, it kind of just fades away. Where in the white one, you see it all, and for some reason, it just looks mean. Like the LED lights in the front with the fog lights, the lower beam fog lights. I like the white in my heart of hearts so much more than the black. I did. And I remember near my job, there was like a Grand Cherokee, or there's a Jeep dealership. And basically, I went with my coworkers. Like I was like, yo, like, let's fucking hop in the car. Let's go check out both the white and the black. And you tell me what you think. And I'm like relying on everyone's opinions. Like, I don't know if I should get this, which is like a thing I used to do all the time. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, let me make the world know my business and my decisions and have everyone like a part of my decision-making process as a fucking man. It's embarrassing. So we went to the dealership, and I'll never forget, like, my two coworkers, and my coworkers, they're my friends. They are my friends. And so they check the Jeeps out, and they go, here's the deal. The white's better than the black. It looks better, but you got to get the black. And I'm just like, yeah, you're right. And I wound up getting the black. And originally, I didn't think I made that big of a mistake. And then every time I would see that white Grand Cherokee on the road, I would just know, and I'd look and I'd say, I cannot believe I didn't get that. I got the one that I made a mistake, basically. I got the one I didn't want. And I didn't make a decision based off of what I really liked. I wasn't being true to myself, all this shit. And it might sound like very like dramatic that like a car paint color is like sparked this epiphany in my life where I was like, I got to do what I want to do now. But it kind of was, because there was a lot of circumstances before that were similar, where I was doing shit like, again, this is funny. So after that whole thing happened, and I realized, like, why am I getting shit that I don't want? The new iPhone, like, 13 came out, and I needed a new phone. I hadn't had one in years. And so actually the phone I'm using to record this podcast as we speak. And I go there, and they have, again, I've had a black iPhone. Excuse me. I've had a black iPhone for since iPhones came out. I don't even know. It's been forever. And I still do prefer black iPhones. I think I'm going to go back to one. But this year, the 13, the iPhone 13, had this like slate blue color that I was like, yo, this color is fucking dope, honestly. Like, it's just dope. Like, I would like to get that color. It objectively looks better than the black. And I go, you know what? I'm getting that. I go, I'm just doing what I want. I know, like, I like everything like minimalist and black and all this stuff and whatever, but I like this iPhone color, and I'm going to do what I want. And I did it, and I don't regret it at all, right? It's a nice color. I enjoy the iPhone color. But that Jeep Grand Cherokee thing still haunts me because, I mean, the lease is up in a year. And also, I'm so done with Grand Cherokees. I'm so done with trucks in general. But specifically Jeep Grand, I mean, it's just like you drive the same car for 10 years, it gets boring, right? But if I were to get another car, it would be the white one. Not a white car, because I like black cars to white cars, but this specific model and the specific make and all that thing. So that's just a lesson that I need to, well, I have taken my own advice now. And also, I apologize if I sound under the weather. I am dealing with a sinus infection. But yeah, bottom line, you got to do what you want to do. Don't let anybody tell you or convince you or persuade you, whatever other word there is that basically gets the job done here. to get something that you like. Like, the thing is, I didn't dislike the black. I just liked the white more. And because it was like the safer pick, I went with the black. Never again. I'm doing what I want to do. Okay. So that's how we're going to start the podcast off. And to kind of start rolling into things, I got to get into stand-up. I got to actually start doing stand-up. I've been pushing it off like a pussy for the last, I don't know, year and a half. And I will say I've done a great job over the last, and by the way, I don't want this new form of the podcast to be like me patting myself on the back for a fucking hour, because it's not that at all. But in terms of stand-up, I got to get on the fucking stage, because I think it would be a good like level up next step to what I'm doing now with this TikTok shit specifically. And I'm pushing it off. Is clearly something that bothers me, that like I'm a little bit like, it makes you a little uncomfortable, okay? And I've done a decent job of getting out of my comfort zone the last year and a half. I started playing in that band where we play in front of a lot of people, and the first time I did that, you know, you got the fucking, your heart's going, and you get nervous, and you might like whatever, and then once you do that a couple times, now I'm very comfortable playing drums in front of people and playing and performing, right? Stand-up's gonna be different, because now it's just you on the stage. You can't hide behind your instrument, and you're not in the back of the band. So that'll be interesting. But between that and, yeah, I mean, I think it would be a great thing to just start doing stand-up. So why not? And I've been doing this thing where I have in my calendar, like, all right, make like a 5-minute, like set and put some bits together. And then like, once you have that, then you're going to go. And like, that has been on my calendar since like probably a year ago, like August 2022. And then every month I'll be like, oh, I'm busy though. I'll do it next month. And I could do it. I'm making excuses, bro. Like, come on now. So sooner or later, right now it's in my calendar for I think like October 10th. By October 10th, I want to make a nice 5-minute special. What the fuck am I talking about? 5-minute set, and then start going open mics. And I think that like the situation was like I would finalize that set by October 10th, and then by November 10th or around there, I would actually get on stage at least once. And I have like a goal of getting on stage 5 times from that year to date. So we shall see. But it reminded me of a funny story. So when you get out of your comfort zone, obviously you're uncomfortable. So you get a little bit nervous, and you get like a little on edge, and the anxiety kicks in, and your systems start moving, and they start flowing, and they start getting a little bit worked up, and your adrenals start pumping, right? But so what can combat that, and what a lot of people use in the performance space, specifically like with like high-end violinists and fucking like CEOs who give speeches and seminars to like tens of thousands of people, they take what's called a beta blocker. And so I have an experience with taking a beta blocker. It's very funny. So a beta blocker, just to quickly give you like a little science like overview, and don't fully quote me because I could be like paraphrasing and wrong about it, slight like little details of this. But basically what it is it's going to lower, it's for people with high blood pressure, right? With hypertension. So what you do is when you take it, and it's been FDA approved for, I think, like 70 years. It's very safe, especially the top end ones. I'm forgetting the names of the generic drugs that are at that top end. But it basically caps your heart rate out at a specific spot. So if you're, I don't know, theoretically, if you're on a run, let's say, and you're running at like a 165 beats per minute pace, usually at that pace, so let's say you're running a 7-minute mile, and that usually gets your heart rate to 165 or 170, which would be very good. Now you take this thing, it caps your heart rate off at, let's just say, 150 beats per minute. So you can imagine these are banned by like USADA and all the whatever, like the drug testing professional sports situations, because it's a performance enhancing drug. So it caps your heart rate off. It doesn't raise the floor. It just drops the ceiling. So what happens is when you're giving a speech, or I'm sure anyone who's listening to this has given a speech or public spoken before, people get nervous. And what it does is when your heart starts to race, your entire like parasympathetic nervous system starts to take over. You start getting a lot more just like worked up, and now your adrenals start to kick in, right? The adrenaline, the fight or flight kind of feeling. Now your voice gets a little bit like up in your chest, and maybe you're talking faster. Your voice starts to crack. Your hands are shaking. Maybe you're holding a piece of paper. Your hands are shaking. And for maybe like a violinist, you need to be like stiff as a surgeon, right? Still while you're playing, so you don't screw up. And you can imagine if you're playing a very, very important concerto, solo, whatever it's called, in front of a lot of people, you got to have your body not like freak out on you. So I had read about these things and was intrigued. And when I quit my first job out of college, which was last August, so basically a year from now, I was unemployed for a couple months trying to find work, and I finally like landed this interview with this company that was good. It's a good company, which is actually the company I work for now. And I said, you know what, like I don't think I'm gonna get that nervous, but I want to be like I want to see how this works. So I thought to myself, I go, yo, like my grandfather takes every medication under the sun. Like I just know for a fact he's probably taking this I forgot the name of it, but this beta blocker. Okay, and also what beta blockers do, just for the actual technical term, is I believe it's blocking the beta receptor. What is it? It's blocking some receptor in like the beta and the beta receptor of like some certain enzyme. Okay, the beta receptor, that's what it is. It's blocking the beta receptor of a certain enzyme which causes your heart rate to spike and your adrenals to take over, etc. So it's blocking it so your body stays in that kind of like still state. Okay, and you'd think like if you took it on a daily basis, it seems like it would be unhealthy. It's genuinely not, because it's not doing anything like bad. It's literally just blocking that receptor. So your just body is going on like it usually would, right? But now the heart rate can't get higher. So it's great for people who have heart issues, because now they don't have to worry about, like, they can kind of modulate their blood pressure, they can modulate their heart rate a little bit. So it's a good thing. So I go, yo, my grandfather's got to have this shit. So I call him up and I basically am like, yo, like, I convinced him. I was like, yo, I got this interview. Do you have whatever the drug's called? And he's like, yeah, I do. Like, why? I was like, you think you can give me like a 5 milligram, whatever the fuck? And I was shocked. He was like, yeah, I'll give you one. Like, it's whatever. So I take this thing, and I didn't know it interacts with your it's a blood pressure medication. So I was currently and still am on minoxidil oral medication, which is a vasodilator that helps hair growth. Right, it's a growth agonist, and brutal. And so I didn't know that they would interact a little bit. So I take this medication for this, or whatever. I take this pill for this train ride to the office that I'm going to interview at. And I'm feeling a little loopy because, like, which is a bad thing, obviously, during an interview, because I guess my blood pressure was super low. I wound up, like, standing up from a seat in the train. I almost pass out. But then I get my bearings, and I go to this interview, and I fucking crush it, okay? Like the charisma on me is just out of, like I was like, what's his name in The Big Short? Ryan Gosling in The Big Short. I felt like, I just felt like a killer, okay? So then I after that, I looked into it, and I was like, oh, shit, like, that's why I was feeling a little faint. And so I basically had to make a decision that I would either take this, whatever it's called, and become a absolute surgeon of sorts, just a closer. Not that I'm not a closer already, because I'm a closer. Believe that I'm a closer. But I would become just like a man of just the utmost charisma, or have my hair, because I would have to stop taking the minoxidil and lose my hair and blah, blah, blah. Even though, like, again, I decided to go with the hair, and it hasn't been working too well. So I might as well just went bald and be a charismatic fuck like Mr. Clean. So that's my little beta blocker story. So unfortunately, I can't take it, but I would love to, because some of these shows, like stand-up, you fucking take that, I'm sure you fucking rock out. Like, you don't have to worry about shit. So that's that. Another thing before I get into my schedule or my events from last week that's kind of funny is the idea of, why as human beings do we do things that we know are going to harm ourselves or not put us in the best interest of where we're trying to go. I had a conversation with my best friend, and I use that term seriously, because I know, like, people like my brother, basically, and we were talking about how, like, he had just recently started going back to the gym, and he just feels great, right? And he hadn't gone for a while, and he's starting to eat better. And he then went, like, after work, he, like, decided to not, like, have a couple drinks like he usually would on, like, a Thursday night. And he feels great, and he's just in a good mood. And what's interesting to me is, like, okay, he has that example of how he feels when he does those certain things, okay? Just like myself. I mean, I stopped drinking for 6 months last year, and I know all about, because I've been very heavily involved for a long time, not anymore, because I'm just a lazy fuck, very heavily involved in the fitness space and the nutrition space, and just, like, I don't know, like, as cringy as it sounds, like, life optimization space. And it's like sleep optimization, all that stuff. And it's like, you know how you feel when you do these good things, but yet you put like grilled chicken in front of someone and a cookie, and that person will know that the grilled chicken is going to aid in their, their health more. It's going to make them feel better after all this stuff. and yet they're still a lot of times going to pick that cookie. A lot of times you got to go to the gym and you just don't go to the gym, and you're just like, why the fuck didn't I do that? And you're maybe drinking excessively, and you know you're going to feel like shit. You know it's not going to be like an ideal situation the next coming days because you're going to be hungover. And it's this idea of like this weird self-sabotage where when you're in the moment of doing all the right things and you're on a schedule of like making momentum, seeing momentum, deliberately you'll just do shit that goes right against that. And why as humans do we do that? Like, why is that in our nature to just decide like, oh, I'm going to have this shake. I'm going to have this like milkshake instead of like drinking this like water? Or why am I going to like, eat that cookie instead of this chicken? It's fucking nuts, man. And so it's just like, I think a lot of times now I have to, and everyone should, when you're doing something like that, be like, why am I self-sabotaging right now? Why am I not grocery shopping today, which is going to set me up for failure the next 2 days because I won't be able to do it then, which means I'm going to have to get takeout, which means I'm going to feel like shit, and blah, 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 blah. Why do we do it? It's very interesting. And maybe I'm in the minority, and maybe me and my friend are in the minority where people don't have this, and they do, like, just, they're eating the bad shit intentionally, and they're not eating the bad shit to better themselves, and they don't have any issue with abstaining from it. I strongly doubt that, but you never know. But so there's that. And then also, I think another thing I was like kind of like, it was like a introspection of sorts. I was thinking about how my whole life, and just give me a second, I want to make my computer come back awake so I can see my notes. All right, so another thing which is interesting to me is this thing I've always had in my life where I'm always on like a ticking time clock. That's kind of redundant actually. I'm just on a ticking clock, I should say. Where even when I was a kid, when I was like 15, I would see like people's ages. I go, oh, wow, he's 22, he's doing that. And then when I got to like the age of like being able to like do things in your life, you'd see like famous celebrities or athletes or rappers or whatever the case is. And I'd be like, wow, they're super successful. How old are they? Okay, they're 26 and I'm only 21. So I still have time. And then now I'm 28 and it's like, okay, well, he's really successful, but how old is, and then you're just comparing yourself like to this time. And it's very counterproductive. It's very just bad for you in many ways. And this sounds like something that you would like get at like therapy. Like this sounds like a idea that you have to be explained to in therapy, but genuinely, I just like thought of this on my own over the last like couple months. And I still find myself doing it a lot where I'll be like, oh fuck, like, damn, I'm 28 and like this baseball player who like looks like super older and more mature and he makes all this money, he does all this shit, he's probably have a crazy life, he's my age, like damn. And then you like think to yourself, like you get down in like you get like all blue, right? Why? We're living completely different lives. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, and there's no rush, okay? And this might contradict what I just said, but so Patrick Bet-David's a guy who's like blown up on YouTube over the last like I would say year, but he's really been huge with the Valuetainment channel over the last like probably 4 or 5 years. And I didn't really know his backstory. I just got hip to it. And basically he started an insurance company and he sold it off recently over the last year. He's 44 now for a couple $100 million. And he clearly has a passion for media. So now he's like jumped into that space, not because he needs the money, but because he's pretty talented at it and he's pretty entertaining and blah, blah, blah. But I happened to hear that he started his company when he was 30. He was in the military prior. He started this company when he was 30. So I feel like, oh, wow, I'm old now and I'm in my late 20s and all these things have happened and people are doing this and people are doing that and I'm comparing myself and all this stuff. And then you see that this person started his company when he was 30, which is 2 years from now for me. And that company took 14 more years to culminate into right now him having hundreds of millions of dollars and doing the things he probably wanted to do his whole life, which is media. So there is no rush in anything, whether it's success in business and careers, relationships, life goals. I just got to really just let it rock and just understand things are going to happen when they happen and enjoy the process and enjoy the journey that is life. Because I've been miserable for so long, obviously, all the time, comparing myself to other people. You can't do that. You got to you are who you are. I don't know who said this, but comparison is the thief of joy. And it's true. I think it's like I think it might be Mark Twain. I think it might be Mark Twain or Samuel Clemens, I think is his real name. But yeah. I think that's a big piece of advice that I have to take for myself, and I think many others should take. So we are still young, my friends. Now, if you're 50 or 60, I can't really help you because like now you're getting a little old. But if you're in your 20s and your 30s, ease up, pal. Ease up, bud. Everything's gonna be all right. So let me tell you about my weekend. 2 weekends from now, or 2 weekends ago, excuse me. So I had a show. We were talking about performing. I had a show at what's called the Inn, which is a bar in Long Beach. And shout out to my friends from college who so nice. They came and they saw me play and they saw my band play. Didn't have to do that. It's not a short drive or trek, whatever. It's train. And they were supportive and awesome. And it's just fucking dope, dude. Like I really appreciated that. And I had an amazing time. But let me tell you about the day before. So, or not the day before, the day of. So the show was at like 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I had a mullet at that point. And if you notice, I don't have a mullet anymore, unfortunately, for the first time in a while. And again, I think it's for the best. I was lying to myself thinking it looked good. And maybe it did look good for certain people. And again, take my own advice. I don't care what anyone else thinks. You got to do what you like. But also, like, I was kind of being real with myself. I was like, all right, like, let me, whatever. So anyway, I go to my barber who kills it with the skin fade game. He's a Dominican guy in Long Island, and he had been giving me like skin tapers for a while, and he really just amazing. And he had never cut my hair though. I had gotten this mullet in LA when I was there by this guy named Dean Lauer, Dino the barber, who's super famous on Instagram, and he was the fucking man. I think I discussed it on this podcast a couple episodes ago. But so he cut my hair into a mullet, and it was fire. And then I came back home, and there's no one like that. So I was just basically getting the sides taped up and the back. And so it started getting long and unkept. And I think that's why the mullet looked like shit. So anyway, I go there and I go the same thing. But I go, you know what? Now I want you to take a little bit off the back and off the top. So unfortunately, I had never got my hair cut by him. And he botched me a little bit. He just gave me a kind of a crazy haircut where like he kind of cut the back, but then he left the bottom long. So I kind of looked like a little bit of, I looked like, I don't even know. It just didn't look good. But I had already left by the time I had realized that this haircut was too long in the back. So I was in my car going home, and I got home, and I looked in the mirror, and I go, oh, fuck, like this haircut looks like shit. And by the way, this is such a me story what's about to go down. It's hysterical. So I get this haircut, I don't like it, and I'm like, oh my God, like I have this show tonight, and like there's so many people from Long Island that I know who are coming, and there's my friends are coming, and my family, and friends of friends, like I can't look like this. So I go, and I'm like panicking, and again, like the industry of barbering now, you usually schedule on what's called Booksy, which is an app where you like schedule your appointment. So to get an appointment with a good barber the day of is like impossible. So I'm looking, I'm shuffling around, I'm figuring it out, and I go, oh, okay, there's this one place like in my town that looks decent. And also some background, my mother owns a store in the town of Massapequa, and so whatever, this barbershop is near the town, okay? So I go to the barber, and I go, hey, like, I got botched, even though I didn't. I just wanted to play it up for this guy, because these guys, when you go to another barber, when you say that, they're like, oh, maybe I could win over his business by fixing his hair. So I go, bro, he's cutting someone's hair. I go, bro, I got fucking botched here. Can you just do me a favor? Can you just like cut the back a little bit and fix this, like, please, and put a V in the back of my head? He goes like, oh, like, it doesn't look that bad, but okay, like, whatever. He starts talking to his like other guy who's sitting down, and it turns out, because I guess he was busy, he foists me to this guy. And this guy, I was a little skeptical just by the way he looked that he wouldn't be able to cut great hair. He was like an older guy. But he talked to him for a while, so in another language, so I'm assuming he like told him exactly what I wanted. So this guy pulls out these shears that I had never seen before, besides like when I was like getting my haircut like by like an old white guy when I was like fucking 10, which is like these huge shears that are making this like clipping noise, and this guy starts going to town with like fucking hedge cutters to the back of my hair, ruining my mullet, and I know it's being ruined, and I'm just dying inside as this is going on. And he's like, this is good, and he's like, as he's cutting it, and then I'm like, yeah, or I'm like, I didn't say yeah, like I was like how much is still on? And he's like, you see, and I touch my hair, and it's like fucking no hair in the back. So I'm like, okay, whatever. The taper on the side that my original barber did, it was great. The back is now smoked, so there's no more mullet. So I said to the guy, the main guy who owns the shop, I go, hey, like, can you just cut a V into the back of my hair to make it like a little bit more like trendy? Because it was just like left long and squared off. And he goes, no, my friend, like, you're a nice guy. You're a nice guy. Like, you look like douchebag with that V. Like, no, you look like douchebag. I go, no, like, I get it, but, like, that's, like, how I like my hair. And he's like, no, I won't give it to you. I won't give it to you. This guy refused to give me a fucking V in my hair. It's insane. So I'm like, all right. So now I go after this haircut, and also I go, hey, bud, like, how much do I owe you? He goes, no, like, I won't charge you the whole thing. I'll just give me 20. I'm like, first of all, how much fucking money is this haircut that you get? So I give this guy $20 for taking 2 seconds to cut the back of my hair and butcher it. So now I'm having a panic attack because I'm like, yo, like, my hair's fucked still. What am I going to do? So I go to my mother's store as she's working there, and no one's in her store, thank God. And I go, yo, like, I got fucked. And I'm dropping F-bombs left and right. I'm like, yo, you got to be kidding me. She's like, I really don't think it's that bad. And I'm like, yeah, it's horrible. I was like, and there's a barber next door to her store that I got my hair cut by when I was a kid, and I refused to go after. He's a very nice guy, but really doesn't know what he's doing. And I'm in full panic. I'm like, yo, like, what do I do? What do I do? She's like, I would just leave it. It looks fine. And I'm like, no, I'm going next door, and I'm going to fucking, like, get my hair V'd up. So I have a picture on Google. I show it. I go, yo, no one's in the shop, obviously. I go, yo, all I want you to do, take a fucking T-blade and fucking make a V in my hair. He goes, sure. This guy fucking cuts a bowl in the back of my hair. Cuts like a cereal bowl, fucking U in the back of my hair. I look like a Lego character, okay? It's insanity. I'll put a picture up of what the hair looked like in the back after I got this done. I was dead inside. I now go back to the store that my mom's in, and I'm having I'm like, yo, fuck this guy. I got fucked. I start blaming her for no reason. She did nothing wrong. So I go home, like, this is it. Like, it's over. Fuck. So now I'm like, yo, like, there's 3 hours to the show. I have to schlep my fucking drum set and all this shit there. It's like a 45-minute drive away anyway. I have to eat. I'm cutting it so close. And I make one more call to this fucking king in like, I think Lindenhurst. I forgot exactly where it was. And this guy, who I've known about, is also a Dominican guy. He's a competitor of my actual barber. And I call him up. He's super busy. And he goes, no, but I got a guy for you. Trust me, bro. And he really couldn't speak that good English. He was like, had a translator. He's like, I got you, bro. Just come in. So I come in. This young kid gives me a tape up in the back, tapes the back of my hair up, and he fucking killed it. And I think this haircut, it's been 2 weeks since I've gotten it. So it's grown out more. I think it looks fucking stellar. So shout out to that guy. Fucking saved the day. I wind up dropping $100 by going to 4 different barbers in an hour and a half stretch. I mean, talk about insanity. So now I go to the show. The show went super well. I think anyone who was there can attest to it. The band sounded good. I had a blast. It was just fucking awesome. And after playing for 3 hours, I was shot, dude, especially running around the whole day. So I wound up going home early at like 11 p.m., but my friends are obviously going to be in Long Beach the rest of the week. So Saturday morning, I go right back to the beach or Long Beach, whatever. All my friends are there. We have a great time on the beach that day. We get fucked up. And then that night, we go out, we get fucked up. And then Sunday morning, I'm like in bad shape. And the plan was we were going to go to the beach Sunday morning. Not my friends, but the 2 guys who lived in the house that everyone stayed at. I'm like, yo, there's no way I can go to the beach. I'm like, no, bro, like, fucking, like, it's the medicine, bro. You got to go to the beach like usual, and like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I grew up on the beach. I can't go to the beach today. I feel like shit. He's like, bro, trust me, just like for an hour. I somehow get convinced to go to the beach. Then I start sipping a couple fucking Coors Lights. I'm feeling electric, all right? Going in the water. I feel like $1 billion. Start getting a little buzzy buzz, and then I'm like, yo, why the fuck wouldn't we go out tonight? Or like whatever, not tonight, but like Sunday fun day, like 4 p.m., which is big in Long Beach. They're like, fuck yeah, we all go out that day, Sunday. I'm now at the bar until 11:30 p.m. in Long Beach on a Sunday, okay? I mean, it's crazy. I went on a 72-hour just binge drink bender to the point where I was recovering. I was hungover for like 4 days. 4 days recovering, like sick almost. I felt sick. Rolls into next weekend, which I had another show on that Friday, and I'm feeling under the weather. And we played at this bar that was like, there was no air conditioning in, and it was so hot. And I like felt like I was going to fucking pass out while I'm playing. After the gig, I just leave right away. I wake up the next morning, and I'm sick as a dog. I really am. Every time I drink a lot, like this happened in college, but not anymore. But now this had to be the most I've drank in a 3-day span in like forever. I got sick, and that's why I'm under the weather right now. I got like brutally sick, sore throat, sinus infection, the whole nine. It sucked. And so, yeah, that was what we're doing. And that was last Saturday. And actually, I take it back. Last thing. So Friday, I leave that gig. Saturday, I was feeling under the weather, very under the weather. And I just, for some reason, wanted to go out because I think 2 weekends ago, I had so much alcohol in my system, so much booze in my system, and I wanted to go out. Fucking, I was like, let's just go out Saturday night. I'm feeling a little better. So I go out Saturday night. My buddy, we were all going out, and we see this band in Long Beach called I Respect. Now, it's like a play on Irie and the word respect. They were fucking dope, okay? They're like a SoCal, like punk band, but like not, it's like they play like dub basically. And a little backstory, I came up on dub and I came up on SoCal rock in high school. My favorite music by far. So I'm not going to get into the minutia of this, but like music's my whole life. I'm not going to get into it all, but then let's just start from like ninth grade. Ninth grade, I got like so heavily into the Chili Peppers, like incredibly heavily into Chili Peppers. 10th grade, unbelievably into 311 and like all that shit. And then junior and senior year, I was like the biggest fan of like SoCal rock and dub. It was like gross. Like I went to shows all the time. I saw the bigger bands like Slightly Stupid, which is more of like a different genre, but anyway, Tomorrow's Bad Seeds, my favorite, which is the Expendables, okay, Pepper, Revolution, I'm forgetting a lot more. Who's the band that sings When It's Just You and Me, Electricity, Iration, all these bands, bro. I fucking like ate those bands up. There's a couple more that I'm forgetting, but the bottom line is that was like how I took on my drum style and the way I learned how to play, and it's fast, and there's a lot of triplets on the hi-hat, and very crisp, cranked up snares. Just a fucking vibe, yo. I mean, just like, I can't believe I just said a vibe, yo. That's brutal, but like, it was really just such a vibe, okay? Especially like I grew up like in a beach town. Just fucking so sick. So I got away from that. Actually, interestingly enough, my freshman year, random roommate, I was in a supplemental room, which meant there was 5 roommates in the room. One of them was from Brick Township, New Jersey, and was a guitarist for a SoCal rock band, and he was very talented. And this was before I had the balls to play drums in front of people, which is a big regret to me because we would have had a great time playing together. But yeah, I mean, just very, very, very into that genre. And then like after like college happens, I lost touch with it and all this stuff. But anyway, we see this band I Respect, and they brought me right back in, bro. Fucking so dope. I mean, the drummer was killing it. He was playing on a set. He was playing on this kit that was like at his knee. It was so low. It was like at his knees. Just 2 crashes, a small little ride. He had a timbali and a piccolo snare, and like 2 rack toms, or like a rack tom, and it was like a 3-piece set and whatever. But so I'm watching this guy play and I'm fucked up, and they had a saxophone guy, and this fucking guy's snare sounded so good. In the intermission between the first set and the second set, I'm talking to him, and I wanted to ask him what snare he's playing on because I wanted to buy it, because I don't like the sound of my snare, and I want to start playing different music and get into my roots really. And yeah, so I wind up DMing the band on Instagram the next day, and they fucking answer right away. And his name's Mike. I don't know exactly his last name. And looked him up again. It's I Respect, IRIESPECT. I can't speak for the recorded music because I haven't listened to it, but live they're fucking so sick. Okay, so he tells me the make of the drum. It was a 13.5-inch Mapex piccolo. I think 3.5-inch depth as well, but 13.5-inch in diameter. And I go on to Reverb, which is like the eBay for musical instruments. And I had sold something on Reverb like maybe a couple years ago. Did nothing wrong. And when I go on to Reverb, I see that there's a couple snares that are available, the same exact model. It's discontinued. They don't make that size anymore. They make a 14.5, and I wanted the exact one that he had, and it was cheap. It was like $115. So there was one that was in New Jersey. So I was gonna DM this guy, be like, "Yo, like I'll pay you $100 cash. I'll drive out to you. I'm like an hour and 15 minutes away from you. Let's fucking go." I go to log into my account. It tells me I'm fucking banned, and I've been like blocked. So I'm like, what the fuck? So then I had to text my boy, the guitarist of my band. I'm like, "Yo, go on fucking Reverb. DM this guy like you're me, and let's get this fucking piccolo snare." He does it, and they're sold out. They sold that piece, and I'm like sick to my stomach. So that was it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to part ways with the idea of getting this, and I'll probably forget about it, and yada, yada, yada. 2 days go by. Something possesses me to go back on Reverb without my account logged in so I could actually browse. This fucking place in Plainview, I can't even talk right now. Plainview, New York, excuse me, which is like 15 minutes from my house, lists this exact snare for $80 5 hours before I went on there. Okay, and it literally said, like, this is going to go quick. It's, like, highly sought after. I get my boy to fucking DM the guy. He's got it. I go, I pick it up. I'll put a picture of it up whatever. I'll put a picture of the snare up. I'm just so ecstatic and thrilled. I didn't realize that the heads on the Mapex snares are Mapex brand, or branded, I should say. The logo's on it, but it's actually on the bottom of the fine print. It's a Remo head. Fucking sick. It's a Remo Emperor. It's fucking sick, dude. So I am so hyped to play on this snare drum. Little fun story about just fucking awesome. So that's that. Now a couple other things. Let me just scroll down because I got a couple more things to talk about. I had a fake experience at Chick-fil-A. When was this? This was last night. I had a fake experience. So my mother's been sick as well. I think I don't know if I got sick from the sinus infection from drinking or because my sister was sick and then I got sick and then my mom got sick. So she has the same thing that I have, but like she's in the worst stage of it. But she had recently tried like the frosted lemonade from Chick-fil-A, which if you haven't tried it, it's fucking amazing. It's just lemonade, their lemonade, whipped up with their ice cream. It's like it's just awesome. Okay. So she had, like, in passing, when I was talking to her yesterday, like, mentioned that she wanted it, and it was, like, at 8 o'clock, and I was like, all right, like, I'll pick it up for you. I have nothing to do. Like, I'll be a nice son. She's like, oh, really? So I was like, yeah. So, like, time goes by, and it's, like, 9. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go now. She's like, okay, thank you. So I go to the, I go to the Chick-fil-A. Okay, I walk into the Chick-fil-A. By the way, this is what I'm wearing. I'm wearing, like, shorts. This is kind of gross, but I'm wearing shorts with no fucking... I'm wearing shorts with no underwear under them, bro. It's fucking disgusting. I had to wear, like, a fucking oversized shirt just so I could hide the situation that's swinging around down there. Not that it's a substantial situation, but, I mean, come on. So, shorts with no underwear. The shirt that I wore on my last podcast, which is an oversized Abercrombie & Fitch, like, basic tee. That's nice, and I've gotten a lot of compliments on it. Everyone on TikTok is asking either where my shirt's from or they're telling me like outright, like, I like your shirt, bro, which is cool. And then I was wearing these like moccasins that I've had that are like they're Lems, so they're wide toe box, zero drop, barefoot kings like myself who want to build their arch up and have healthy foot, foot. What's the right word I'm looking for here? What's the word for foot anatomy, I guess is the right word. But anyway, yeah, they're just like leather, like fake leather moccasins with like a little bit of like Sherpa inside, so they look comfortable. Okay, whatever. So I walk up, I get this fucking frosted lemonade. The guy off the bat, this black dude off the bat is like so nice. And everyone at Chick-fil-A is nice, but like specifically this guy's like, dude, like I fucking love your shirt, man. Like, where'd you get that thing? And I was like, Abercrombie & Fitch. He's like, yo, that, like, I gotta get me some of those, like, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, oh, thanks, man, I appreciate it. And he's like, I scan my card, and he's like, my Chick-fil-A thing, and he's like, dude, you're a fucking pro, man. Like, frosted lemonade's a great fucking thing. I was like, oh, thanks. So now that's it. I walk, and I'm waiting for my shake. Now this is where the story gets good. I mean, this is a fake thing. I literally, like, if you told me, like, everyone was fucking with me, I would have agreed with you. So now I'm waiting for this shake, or whatever, and there's, like, this 18-year-old at most kid waiting. He's a worker, and he's waiting, I guess, to give everyone their stuff who's waiting for the stuff. And he keeps looking at me. And originally, like, I thought he just, like, maybe something was on my face. I don't even know. I was like, what was he looking at me for? And then this kid fucking kept looking at me for. This was going on. And it was annoying me. I was getting fucking pissed off. So then I was like, all right, I got to say something to this guy so he stops fucking looking at me. So I got to acknowledge that, like, he keeps looking at me. So I go, hey, brother, like, is the drink almost done? And he goes, what'd you get? Like, what I told him what I was getting, the frosted lemonade. And he goes, yeah, it should be out very soon. And then he goes, by the way, I'm sorry I was looking at you. He, like, acknowledged it. He's like, you just look so familiar. Like, are you on social media? And I go, yeah, I am. I go, I'm on TikTok. That's maybe how you know me. And he goes, yeah, dude, Johnny. And I go, yeah, Johnny Action. He goes, dude, like, you're so funny, bro. Blah, blah. I go, you follow me? He goes, I don't know. I got to check. No, I don't. I'm going to follow you right now. Bro, insane. This kid fucking recognizes me. I'm a celebrity now in Long Island. And then As I'm waiting still, after this kid says this to me, the girl coworker is talking to her other coworker, and I overhear her make direct eye contact with my shoes and literally say to the guy, his shoes are so nice. And I'm just like, yo, what in the world is going on at this Chick-fil-A? I'm getting jerked off like a god. I'm just getting like, they're just circle jerking me, excuse me. It's nuts. It's fucking nuts. So that was very funny. I don't know why that happened, but it was a good night for Johnny. Let's put it that way. A bad experience I had at a fast food establishment recently was I was at Shake Shack. I walk in and there's a group of like 8 people walking in before me. And that bothered me because they were like all together. So I know they're all going to order fucking together. And then I'm going to be fucked because I'm getting one burger for myself. And I'm going to have to wait for all these orders to get fucking fulfilled before I get mine. And I'm in a rush. So when we get in, it was like a blessing. I didn't realize Shake Shack, I haven't been there in a while. They have like self-service kiosks now. So these people go on the touchscreen. So I beeline right to the fucking register. And I go like, I'm going to let a human being take my order. They're going to get the order in first. And I'm going to be on my way. And I'm going to beat the rush. So I go up to the fucking register, and the girl's not acknowledging me. After like a half a minute, I go, excuse me, like, can I order? And she goes, yeah, 1 second, I'm putting my order in. So I'm like, okay. So she's putting her order in, taking forever, and then she has the balls to literally like look back at all the people who are cooking and go like, by the way, like, what's our employee discount code or whatever? And I'm like, yo, this is really happening. So she puts it in, the receipt starts to print. As the receipt's printing, another worker comes over and starts typing on the register. So I go, hey, can I order? She goes, oh, yeah, no problem. I'll be right with you. I'm just putting in my order quickly. And yeah, it was late at night. It was like the end of the day. What in the fuck, dude? If I was the manager who trained them, I would fire them all right there. I mean, are you joking? So I'm like getting so mad. I'm clenching my fist. I mean, I was like, no, I wasn't doing that. But like, I was just like, what the fuck's going on? All the people who got in before me, who I was going to beat to the chase, are now peeling off. They all finished ordering on the fucking touchscreen kiosk. So now I'm like actually mad. I'm like, yo, like, I'm going to leave. I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, if this doesn't end in like 10 seconds, I'm leaving. And I'm counting down from 10. And on second number 2, I go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, down it to 2. She goes, okay, I'm with you now. And I go, yo, like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Really? This is just, it's just, who taught you just regular like business, the way you operate? Who taught you this? And then to make matters even worse, I get a fucking smoke shack with the fried onions on there, and she goes, we don't have those. And I'm like, you don't? And she's like, no. I was like, really, the fried onion? She goes, oh, the crispy onions, you mean? Yo, are you getting snotty with me? Crispy onions versus fried onions? You don't know the difference? You can't tell the difference? Maybe you didn't realize the social norms of making the customer be able to order before the employee, because you're just a little off in the head. You can't even tell the difference between crispy and fried onions. I mean, Jesus Christ. So that was my Shake Shack experience. Absolutely brutal. Yeah, so let's kind of get to the end of this podcast. I got a couple more things to talk about. I recently watched Rocky. It's just special. Nothing really more to say. If you've never seen Rocky, you got to see it, because it's just, I mean, Philadelphia, I used to make fun of how, like, they worship a fake character. No, they have every right to, because Rocky Balboa is just a legend in his own right. I'm also looking on Instagram, so think about this for a second. All right. And by the way, I mentioned this on the TikTok as well. I'm also trying to see Oppenheimer, and I got tickets for August 22nd. 10:30 p.m., which sucks. I'll be done at 1:30, but it's at that Lincoln Square Theater in Manhattan. So we're seeing it in 70mm IMAX, which is like going to be so incredible. I'm so pumped up about it. So that's my kind of new movie stuff. I also, after this podcast ends, I'm going to watch Old Boy and then go to sleep. The original, obviously not the remake, with the most perfect girl of all time. What's her name? Elizabeth Olsen, but no, the original, the Korean film. So anyway, I know I'm rambling a little bit, but I was on Instagram, and now, like, what's weird about these algorithms is that it's scary. Like, I've done a good job of making my algorithm on TikTok and on Instagram where, like, every person isn't this, like, half-naked girl. So what I've noticed, though, is if somehow that's fed to you on your Explore page and you've done a good job at, like, not having any of that, and there's one, and then you click on it, next time you look at your Explore page, there's, like, 8 of them. And then, God forbid, you click on that one, then it's your whole page. I mean, that type of content gets pushed to you more than anything. Same thing with TikTok, right? So that's why TikTok, I purposely just scroll past or like hit disinterested and then it goes away. But so what I've noticed is that every fucking girl that's on Instagram or TikTok who's like really attractive and who's doing these things, I give them the benefit of the doubt. I think they're just like kind of like doing like a tease and using their like good looks to get like a following. Every single one of them is like, they have a link tree and they're all doing like hardcore porn. It's fucking nuts. I mean, why is that? It gives me such little hope for like society that there's so many attractive young girls who are just like I'll fucking click on a picture of like, I don't know, a girl doing like like a YouTube channel, like a girl, like sometimes because I do stretching routines on YouTube and sometimes like they'll feed me like, I use Maddie Fit, by the way, who's awesome. She does not do OnlyFans because she's actually a good human being who has morals and principles and was raised correctly probably. But either way, sometimes they'll feed me like these like yoga things and like the girls are fucking hot, obviously. And you click on it and I'm like, yo, this girl's like getting a little bit like fucking a little showy here. That's crazy. Now I understand why she has all the views. And then they like link their Instagram and then you go to their Instagram and they got a link tree and this girl's getting like pile driven on Twitter. I mean, what the fuck is going on? So that just frustrates me as a man seeing society from a macro lens and how it used to be where porn stars did porn. Now everyone does porn, and it's tough. It's a tough world we're living in. On a different note, but a similar note, I also in my last group of TikTok clips talked about soap operas with how grandmas watch them and how they're ridiculous. But I walked past a television in my house that had like, I don't know, whatever the channel that plays the soap operas on, like NBC. And they had it's what's called The Bold and the Beautiful, one of the ones I'd never heard of before. I'd heard of The Young and Restless, and I'd heard of General Hospital. I'd never heard of The Bold and Beautiful. This cast, I mean, the hottest women of all time are on this cast. I mean, it's fucking, you want to see, like, there's an unbelievable, like, infinite amount of attractive women in the world. It really is crazy. And they're all at soap operas, too. The soap opera talent is like a next level talent. It really is. I never knew that, but it was a observation that I was happy to make. I'm going to have to maybe like work my way in after I become a media like mogul. I don't want to direct these soap operas or I don't want to like act in them because it's embarrassing and they're poorly put together and they're kind of just like ridiculous. But maybe I'll just like hang out. Like, I don't know. I'll hang out near the set and maybe they'll understand like Johnny is a famous guy now because he's got a big, this is like in 4 or 5 years from now when I got like millions of followers. I'm like, hey, like, I just came by, like, fucking, yeah, I know X, Y, and Z, and they're like, oh my God, you're Johnny? And I'm like, fuck yeah. Do you work on this soap opera? Are you an actress? They're like, yeah, you wanna go to, what are those, what's it, Nobu? You wanna go to Nobu? I'm like, fuck yeah, I wanna go to Nobu. Do you wanna go to Nobu? So that's my little fantasy. Also, if you can notice, because of the sickness, and because it's late at night right now, my voice is, like, really, like gravelly, I would say. And I've noticed that this happens to Mike Francesa every time he does his podcasts. But with me, it's because I'm tired and I'm sick. With him, I get nervous that he has extra fluid in his throat because he's, I don't know, like dying from congestive heart failure. So shout out to Mike Francesa, one of my favorite people in the world, has been since I've been like 11. I wish him nothing but health and prosperity and a long, long life. And let's end off this beautiful podcast, okay? So this was the JohnnyCast episode 19. More length than that 18 episode where I kind of just wanted to set everyone straight and tell you that I'm doing long-form podcasts again. The TikTok clips are going to be recorded at a different time. And I'm happy to be doing this because I love this and I love just rambling and ranting. I hope people enjoy listening to me talk. Again, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back at it with episode 20 in a week from now. So this should release on, I believe, either Saturday or Sunday. So have a good day. And cheers. Logging off, Johnny Kith and Johnny Action. I'm saying my old name. I'm getting a little confused here, but logging off. Bye-bye.